everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Lab Report. Today, we are speaking with Zach McCarthy from Inclusive Ski Touring about how it got started and our involvement.
Yeah, thanks so much for the intro and for having me here, Sarah.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. So, you've been doing this for a little while. Can you give a little background on what it is and how it started?
Yeah, absolutely. So Inclusive Ski Touring started pretty organically, actually, back in 2021. At that time, I was working in a ski shop at Sunny River while finishing up college. And I recognized I had a lot of mentors who showed me the way of how to get into touring, how to get into the backcountry.
Yeah.
Being in a shop, I was working every weekend and felt like I never got to ski with some of the friends who I wanted to ski or ski with. So there was kind of a two-prong approach where part of it was completely selfish for sure, and I just have to own that, where I'm like, I want to ski with all my friends on the weekend that I never get to see anymore.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. And the other side was that I didn't see any on-snow opportunities for people to get together. I recognized that I was really lucky to have mentors to show me the way, even just to explain like how to use the gear, what skins are, and knock down some of those initial barriers as it relates to education and just equipment, getting out there. And then the other side for me was like, so I'm a runner in the summertime. I love running, I love fitness, and I'm a skier in the wintertime. I absolutely love skiing. It's been like my longest passion. And the only on-snow events that I ever saw were SkiMo races. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so I'm a runner and I'm a skier. I am like the perfect, target market of sorts for these events. And I think they're fantastic, but even so on an individual level, I'm like, I have no real interest in this.
Right.
It seems like a different sport to me.
Although
it's
you
like
had a
fitness.
lot of good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I love moving
You were
fast,
fast.
and like it's definitely enjoyable, but it wasn't like, wow, this is what I like want to go out and do. Or if I want to tour with a group, like to me that was like, let me put in headphones and move really fast,
Right.
but not where I'm going to go to meet people or to meet gear. Again, I think it's an incredible space, but I just saw this kind of gap where I'm like, there's really no on-snow opportunities to like meet people, to learn the gear, and even no matter what, like as welcoming as you work to make a race, it's still a race, and there's still an intimidation aspect to that.
100%.
So I just started hosting group programs on my own social media. I'd say, we're going to this place for this time on, Sunday mornings, and anyone's welcome to join. If you don't have the gear, send me a message, and we'll try to figure something out. Through working in a shop and just being around, I had access to a lot of different gear, or would try to figure things out, ask friends. And so that really just started building up throughout the season. About halfway through that year, I was just getting a ridiculous amount of like social media messages or DMs that were like, what's the place we're going again? Or like basically like 20 of the same exact question. So I'm like, all right, we need a little more organization here. There's clearly some interest, and it's like growing each week. So I created, a social media page and an email list, really with the idea of just getting like concise information out there, making things a little bit more organized. And so to fast forward kind of through that season, we ended up getting out with a little bit over 220 participants.
That's awesome.
That first year. And that was like so above and beyond what was expected. The amount of folks who joined who just wanted to learn the gear, meet other people, and the demand that we had for it. I mean, the amount of messages that were like, hey, is this going to be elsewhere? Like, where could we, like, how can we get more involved? So really just seeing a whole lot of demand and interest for it. And then it really, it hit the summer of 2021 or like springtime kind of, after the season wrapped up. And I'm looking at these numbers and thinking, holy cow, there's a lot of interest here. And the goal has always been access and opportunity, never the financial side. But I also saw that like there was an insane amount of liability I was taking on by myself. Like giving people gear left and right, like no formal partnerships, no like, I mean, it was a really positive community. I didn't have a super big concern about getting like, I don't know, sued or something, but it was also like, there's a lot of liability here, and I need to I want to continue doing this, but I need to make sure it's not going to be at my own detriment.
Right.
So with that thought, and then with the focus being on opportunity and access, I decided to set up Inclusive Ski Touring as a nonprofit organization. That sounded like a really good idea, and it is a good idea, but it was a lot more work than I necessarily thought it was going to be. So I got onto the IRS website and I downloaded what's known as a 1023, and it's like a 50, 60 page tax lingo document.
And have 3 lawyers look over it to figure out all of it.
I didn't have money for a lawyer. I started working through each line item by myself. So I spent, a couple months just like going through each bit of it, and then sort of filing Yeah, or a nonprofit, or filing to become a federally recognized nonprofit organization. So there definitely was, a big uplift, but it's like, I mean, I have the 501c3, certification up on my wall.
Yep.
I don't have my college diploma up on my wall. Like, there's a real big piece of pride with that one for sure. But so that was sent in June of 2021. Then soon after that, kind of COVID really kicked off and everything slowed down. The IRS in particular got incredibly backlogged, a lot of furlough. So we didn't hear back from them until July of 2022. So we are, they gave us the original filing date. So we're a 501c3 as of June 14th, I believe, June 14th of 2021. But there was about a year sitting in limbo where, like, we've applied as an organization or applied for this, but we're not yet recognized of this. Right. And so that's kind of like how the official end of things got started. And then the programmatic end, it's been a learning a learning process throughout the entirety of it. Each year, we see what programs are working, what time frames work, what people are interested in.
Well, inclusive ski touring's rapidly growing.
Yeah.
Hit that. Whoops. Newbie. But it's pretty impressive. So you expanded from one mountain to how many total now?
Yeah, so we have 5 different locations this year that we operate at consistently, and really working to continue growing that. The trick is to, I want to say yes to every opportunity, but I am, really the only employee of the organization. We have over 100 volunteers this year, and we do have an incredible board of directors and a lot of amazing shop partners, or just partners in so many different capacities. But, it's what can we say yes to and how can we continue to build that's also going to be sustainable, and having systems in place that make it that I know they're going to operate well. It's going to continue going well. And so some of that's being discerning, not saying yes to absolutely everything, but really focusing on growing each year in a way that we can continue to provide the same quality of product or quality of service and in a way that makes sense for everybody.
To me, that's something that Inclusive does incredibly well. So hats off to you for keeping that together and saying no to certain things. Because when we meet people, and I've seen it at other mountains and stuff like that come in for this opportunity to take part in it. Mm-hmm. It's intimidating to walk into a shop and all of a sudden we hand you this piece of equipment and it's got pins on it. The boots now move. Even if you're familiar with skiing, it's like, what is that? Mm-hmm. And so something that is done really, really well, I've participated in a couple of them, gone up there just to see how the programs work, and seen them at other mountains. So my first introduction to inclusive ski touring was participating in a race at Mount Abram, and there was this huge group of people all getting ready, and some people had walkie-talkies, and I was like, well, what are they doing?
Yep.
And we passed them at certain parts of the race, but there's just this huge group of people laughing and having fun and learning how to use this equipment with no feeling of I don't belong here. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is stressful.
Yeah.
It takes all of that down, and your volunteers are amazing to help make that happen. Because they get out there and they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't clip my toes in. What's happening? And at no point does anybody ever feel dumb for not knowing how this works.
Yeah.
And then they do a great job of talking to them on their way up, making sure everybody's having fun, helpful tips along the way, whether it's your riser bar. Oh, I noticed you're breathing really hard. We're going to slow this down a little bit. You also might want to take a layer off, and here's why. They do a really good job of explaining why we're doing it in these steps, and that just, I think, is a huge piece, because it's easy to send somebody out and say, this is how it works, and you practice 10 times in the shop, and then they get out there and they're on their own.
And all that gets forgotten real quick.
And you're breathing hard at the top, you're like, I made it, and then crap.
Yep.
How do I do that again?
Yeah.
And they forget to put their jacket on first. They're freezing. And so there's ways that make it not as fun as it could be. So to be able to do that. And I think you have a really cool story of friendship that happens along the way.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
The friendships that get developed, there's as we've continued to grow, the overall focus of community and access, like access and opportunity has definitely remained a core bit of it, but community development has turned into a very large aspect of it. You're talking a little bit about the volunteers. For me, the volunteers, I mean, it's amazing to see every person come out and join an inclusive ski touring tour. Now that we're 5 years into the organization, I go out to programs, and for me at first, when I was leading programs, stepping away and like letting go of that and putting trust or like, and I'm sure you relate to this as
Oh
somebody who
yeah.
owns a business. It's like you can't do everything. So how do
No.
you like trust others and then let go of like any micromanaging or like, oh, this needs to be perfect, or all these little things. And
Yeah.
so this year, for example, I've gone out and shadowed like a few IST programs, and I've came in with the intention of I don't want to just like step in and take over the lead role for the day. I kind of want to see like with the volunteer training that we've done, with everything that's happened, with the volunteers we have in place, like how is everyone doing, what like maybe we could improve on this and this. But the reality is each time I've shown up, like my heart's bursting. I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. We have lead
Yeah.
volunteers who have been with us for a few years now, who are just so confident in what they're doing, in the position that they have, and so excited to be out there.
Do you have any volunteers that started with the program closer towards its inception that are now kind of lead volunteers or volunteers to help other people?
Absolutely. I don't want to put any, one individual on the spot or use names per se, for example. But what I think is a really powerful example would be our BIPOC programming.
Yep.
At first, I don't think it's any secret that it's limited the amount of like BIPOC skiers in the outdoor industry overall, and that only gets further exaggerated when you get
Yep.
into ski touring, backcountry skiing, everything in that world. So when we were first offering, BIPOC programs, for example, we would have volunteers. Like it wasn't possible to have like an
Right.
entire BIPOC group. That's the absolute dream, to be able to create that true affinity space. But the reality was that we needed to have people who were allies of that community who wanted to help support those days, because we didn't have enough volunteers within that specific space.
Right.
Now we have participants who joined those first couple of programs who came out to our program with Outdoor Afro at Whaleback a couple of years back, who are now volunteering with us. So our
That's
first
awesome.
BIPOC program for the year is this upcoming weekend actually at Mount Abram, and I was looking at the volunteer lineup of it, and I'm like, holy cow, we have all BIPOC volunteers. Like this has been growing and developing. Now that we're in year 5, we've created this community of people and gotten this level of engagement that people want to come back, they want to volunteer with us, they want to pay it forward and help provide these opportunities. And I
That's
think that's a
awesome.
space that the example becomes really clear,
Yeah.
where it's so special.
I mean, for you, that must mean like that's how you know you're doing it right. It's because
Absolutely.
people want to come back and participate and help others.
Yeah.
So that's unique in itself. I feel
Oh, absolutely.
just because like there's plenty of people that participate in things but don't necessarily want to come back to volunteer to help run things, right?
Yeah. Oh, it takes a
So
lot. It's a sacrifice for sure, and it's mind blowing to me the amount of people who are excited to get involved, who want to show up. And I mean, I've had this idea. Sure, I filed the paperwork and had like the initial inception or whatnot, but it's the community of people who show up. It's like our volunteers, it's the participants who really make it. And like I'll get the compliment sometimes. You're like, oh, look what you've created. And some people think it's like a scapegoat answer where I kind of put it back and I'm like, no, it's everyone else who makes it. But I truly feel that way with all my heart. Like if I was
yeah,
standing out on snow each day or doing all this organization, but people weren't showing up, there wasn't the community that was behind it, it wouldn't mean anything. It's every volunteer who shows up that's excited to be there, every participant who says like, no, I am a little bit nervous about this, but I want to try this, and this seems like a great group to do it with. And they're,
yeah.
they're excited to learn, excited to meet other people, and excited to make friends. It's the community that makes it special.
That's awesome. So we joined with you last year
Hmm.
as a partner. And something that stuck out to us at the shop was we had people who were super nervous about coming in to pick their gear up.
Hmm.
And little shy, they don't know any of us. Most of them had never been into the shop before.
Hmm.
And I I thank our staff for being very welcoming and everyone wanting to take the time to show them how to use their equipment, let them ask their questions instead of just saying, "Oh, they'll show you up there.
Hmm.
Don't worry about it." And towards the end, there was one individual, I think they participated 4 times total last year, and by the third time they came in, on a first name basis, they said hi to everybody in the shop, but they were so quiet when they first came in here, and so shy, like, I don't know anything. And so it was really, really cool that third and fourth time to have them come in. We already knew the gear they wanted, the size they wanted, and they were just happy, and they started bringing people with them.
That's awesome.
And it was like, that's a win right there.
Absolutely.
To help break that down, help people feel comfortable, not only there, but to come into a ski shop and feel seen, recognized, and heard.
Oh, I mean, I am such a advocate or proponent that, like, oftentimes ski shops, if it's in the ski world or bike shop, if it's in the summer, whatever it is, the sport that you're going to, the shop experience is more often than not that individual's first experience into the sport of whatever they're looking to get into. And so when they come into a shop and they feel welcomed and not really and particularly talked down to or like have gear forced onto them, the reality is a lot of this stuff is very expensive, and it takes an initial investment. And like, I think back to when I went into a bike shop for the first time, and they're like, I'm trying to get this, I don't know, subpar bike repaired to get me through the season, and they're like, no, you need to buy a $5,000 bike. And I'm like, listen, if I have $5,000, I'm putting that on a down payment to a new car right now. Like, this is not. And it really, it put me in a different perspective where I was always on the ski side. And I was like, no, now I'm the beginner going into a shop in a world that I don't know anything about, that I'm the total newbie and that nobody knows me. And realizing, like, holy cow, this is so many individuals' first experience getting into a sport. So where can they go that they're going to have a positive experience, where they're going to be welcomed, where they're going to have good communication and have people who want to work with them to get them into the right equipment and have them have a good experience and to want to come back and not just force, some expensive piece of gear on them. Having those partners, particularly you guys, to work with in this sort of capacity is so huge. And also, I mean, I very much have to give the specific kind of note here that, like, the generosity through your shop that's offered towards our programs are so above and beyond every other partner we work with in a shop capacity. We never want to disregard any of our other partners. So it's like, I try to make sure to appreciate everybody. At the same point in time, like, participants of our Cranmore programs, which is, where we work with you guys for, the last year the rental gear was free. And this year, the rental gear is a $20 deposit that they can get back and store credit if they're looking to purchase a pair of skis or boots. And that's $20 that they can get back. Like, every other place, uphill rentals are $50 for our programs. And that's still a discounted rate. Most uphill rentals are $75. And so $50, like, it is an investment, but it's still less money than what some downhill rentals are around the mountain. And so that's already an incredible deal. But then we look here and it's like, there's $20 that you can get back. That doesn't happen. That's not seen. And it creates so much more access and opportunity.
Well, and that's what it is we talk about inclusive ski touring as, gender, race, all of this stuff. And something that is less talked about is the economic diversity.
Absolutely.
And so for me growing up, we didn't have tons of money, so skiing wasn't this super affordable thing. But it became a big passion of mine.
Yeah.
And that's where, in talking with you and going through this program, it was like, well, how do we make this affordable? Because people still have to travel here. They've got to buy food. They've got to have some sort of investment into outdoor clothing. And then you're asking them potentially to stay over. And then they've got to travel back. So...
And there's this time sacrifice, too. You're choosing to do this instead of whatever other option could be on the weekends or whatever you could do with, like, that is their day off. And
so then it's $50 just to do the program, essentially, like, if that was what the rental cost was. And then, probably $30 to $50 in gas at least.
Absolutely, depending on where you're coming from.
You're well over $100, and that's before you get into anything else. So if we can break that down and create enthusiasm with you in your program, like, that's the ticket, is to get people away from screens. Spend time outside and find a new way to enjoy New England winter, right? Everyone always talks about, winter sucks. unless you're kind of a skier. But even then, sometimes the snow conditions are variable, and this is just a new way to be able to enjoy it.
Absolutely. And, to that point, well, just the statement, winter sucks. I mean, yeah, it certainly can for a lot of folks. If you don't have a sport or something that you love, when it's, it gets cold or it gets icy, then it becomes an absolute drear. It's just like, oh, I have to shovel. I have to do all these different chores and it's cold and not nice outside. Versus, like, it snows and I am ecstatic. Like, I can't wait to ski the next day. Can I push a meeting back? Like,
I do a happy dance.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you don't have that or have something that you're excited about, I mean, whatever it is, be it ice fishing, downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, fat biking, I mean, anything. I am definitely biased on having some sort of winter passion that you can be excited about if you live in New England. But the other side, too, that I've been really leaning into more and more. Yesterday, I took a ski with some friends, and they had asked me what I was excited about for the season ahead. And I started really thinking about that because I'm lucky enough where I've gotten to backcountry ski, for seasons around here. I don't look up at some of the terrain and think like, wow, I have, this objective in mind, or I want to ski this line.
Yeah.
And, I want to chase good snow and when conditions are good. But what I've been excited about as I was really sitting with this question is the community side of things. Like, I went out skiing yesterday and the conditions were not great, we'll say. But the weather was really nice, and I swear I ran into like 15 people out on the mountain. It was the community of people that made it. I had a smile on my face all day long, and the downhill was filled with like scrapey turns with a little bit of soft snow in between. So like it was not the ski quality that made it what it was. It was the people who I was sharing it with. It was the shared passions and like the community that I'm lucky enough to share with so many folks. But it's that piece as well. It's the friendships. It's who you're sharing it with, and that's the other side that we really try to embrace and provide through inclusive ski touring. Isn't just like, hey, here's how to go and do this, but here's also a way to meet other people to share it with. And then conditions aren't good or whatever it might be, but you still get to get out. You still get to get outside, and you get to share it with people who you have a genuine connection with, and that's really special.
So, yesterday I was also outside doing something uphill with my family. And so we were participating in a race over at Mount Abram. That we sponsor it, so I try and get there and go.
Yeah, and that's Jesse Wall's series, correct?
Yep.
Such an incredible race series.
It's fun. Just it has the 2-hour category, heavy metal, and the full SkiMo.
Yeah,
so,
I mean we were talking earlier about racing and some of the access there. It is tricky. But Jesse does such an amazing job of creating a welcoming space, making sure that it's available for people of any different ability, and that's something that I have so much appreciation and respect for.
Yeah, and it's fun because people ask about it and everything else. But when I showed up for the race, there was your women's program for IST starting up, and everybody was getting ready, and everybody was happy and excited, and it was really cool to kind of see that. But the whole lodge was just full of everybody getting ready.
Yeah, uphill takeover.
Yep. So they had the race going on, or getting ready to go on, and then they had that program. But the whole time that we were going up, we're passing other people there that were part of that program. And you just heard from them like, oh, good job, keep going, congratulations, it's so cool. And they were just encouraging to every person that was trying to go uphill. And then we saw a lot of them for their second lap, going up in smaller groups. And out there, they're sticking the pole out, so instead of a high five, do the ski pole, and like it was just really fun. And you'd see other people in AT gear coming down, and they're just like, woo, cheering you on, and it was like, that's the community. And people in their regular downhill alpine kits were like getting into it too. So I think that community that you are helping to create and break down the barrier of like, oh, they're just uphillers, they're just going fast. Or fitness laps or whatever it might be. There's all of these different categories of what uphill can represent. And it's really cool to see that transformation of getting more and more people into it regardless of their background. And so kudos to you on that, but that was a really cool experience yesterday at Abram.
You know, something I have to share specifically as it like relates to that, because I think it goes both ways. I have this really vivid memory. I think it was 2 years ago now, and it was at the 24-hour race that Jesse was doing.
Yep.
And we were doing. We had a group.
Was that the epic snowstorm?
It was the epic snowstorm.
That was brutal.
Yeah, it was the worst conditions for someone trying to do as many laps as possible, but really great conditions for skiing.
That was the one I told you. I cried on that one.
Yeah,
yep. That was it.
You pushed yourself.
Yes.
The legs were definitely tired from those conditions.
So bad.
But what stood out to me that day was there's a gentleman, Justin Lagasse, who I'm sure you know, and I believe Justin that day was attempting to break a world record for the amount of laps. The snow definitely contributed to, I don't believe he got that day,
No.
but it was, not condition, wasn't helpful with the conditions we had for that. But what really stood out to me was he was on his final lap of the day, and he decided to join IST for pretty much the entire way up, just to talk to participants who was out there. He was in the middle of this race on hour, 23 out of 24, had done an insane amount, but took the time to say, like, no, I want to chat with other people and knock down the stigma that, like, SkiMo racers are too cool for other people, or, like, I'm going, like, don't talk to me, or whatever it might be, this exclusive sort of mindset. And so I share this because, like, on one side, the IST crew was, like, cheering everybody on, and this is, an interesting situation where it was like, okay, hour 23, knew wasn't going to hit the goal anymore, so it was like, cool, let me just, like, slow it down, but, like, choosing to take the time to talk with everyone. And even, I mean, hats off to him, because if I do a 24-hour race, I don't want to talk to anybody, never mind, like, an entire group of people at, my 23rd hour of moving. I'm actually, like, headphones in. I love you all, but please don't talk to me.
Head down.
And it really stood out to me as it spoke to the community at large. And I'm like, this is some, very strong SkiMo athlete who, even though they're in the middle of this race and doing this incredible endeavor, took the time to chat with each and every individual person and to, like, work on making it more welcoming and knocking down those stigmas.
Well, he's just a super positive, outgoing person in every facet of life.
Yes, absolutely.
And an absolute animal. Guy's got an engine for days, but, you saying that is not surprising, but he is such an advocate of getting people outside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. It's exciting, right? All of it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to, I'm sure we could talk about it for hours upon hours. And all of the different stuff that Inclusive Ski Touring is offering in the community, because not only is it on-resort touring for the first time, that introduction, but you have intro to backcountry programs where people actually go up the Sherburne and stuff like that, get equipment and familiar with their equipment and gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, you have different local community programs where people can meet and talk. I think you held one down here at Cheese Louise.
Yep.
I know there's been others throughout different cities and stuff like that. So that's also really, really cool. So I guess in wrapping things up, if there's nothing else you want to specifically say.
No, I'll keep chatting forever about IST. It's like everything that you say, there'll be some thought that jumps into mind, or a moment to share, something that stands out. But
that's just the passion.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, is I would just turn back to our audience here and just say, if you're interested in trying uphill gear, check out Inclusive Ski Touring's website. At any of the various mountains, there's a lot that you can do at a lot of different places. And if you need help getting gear, let us know. We're happy to help support with that, obviously. And we hope we see you out there soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Yeah.